All right, Austin, as one of the people that has billions of views, hundreds of millions every single month, what is your biggest marketing strategy or takeaway? We can kick things off in this episode.
It's pretty crazy to hear those numbers out loud, and thank you so much for having me. But collaborations, as simple as that sounds, right now in particular is a really golden opportunity to tap into collaborations. Instagram Reels, for instance, you can add collaborators on your posts, on your Reels or regular posts with up to 5 people, and it distributes it to all of their audiences. You can do this with one person on Facebook profiles right now as well. And so what I am doing is I am connected with dozens of similar creators in my niche that also have hundreds of thousands to millions of followers, and we grow together. We collaborate with one another. We support each other's content. We share each other's content. We lift each other up. So if you can find people in your niche online, you are better together. It's not you versus them. You can lift each other up.
That is great. I love it. So the collaboration focus, bringing people together, doing that both on Instagram and Facebook. I've definitely been seeing that more and more. So diving into it on this, episode of the Marketing Minds podcast, I am so excited to be joined by Austin Armstrong. Like we mentioned earlier, billions of views with a B, billions of views across social media, and also getting not only a lot of people watching his content, but he's also helping people with his software Syllabi create short form content that is going to go viral and allow you to reach more of your ideal audience and viewers. We're going to talk all about that in just a second. And we also want to talk about his AI Marketing World Conference, which is going to have hundreds and hundreds of people all coming together to learn about AI. I know you're a big thought leader in AI. So Austin, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
It's an honor, man. We were chatting before we jumped in here. We've been connected online for a long time. We've exchanged a ton of messages, but it's cool to finally get face to face and have a fantastic conversation together and nerd out, and just everybody else can kind of be that fly on the wall and take away different golden nuggets.
Exactly. I'm excited about it as well. We've been seeing each other, back and forth on Facebook for such a long time now, and I've seen firsthand how awesome all of your content is. It seems to make its way onto my feed almost every day on Facebook. And I know also you're reaching a lot of people on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube as well. And I'm excited to dive into like what happened to be able to allow you to get so much exposure, so much virality. And of course, you've now created a whole software around it. And so that I think might be a great place to start. So what kind of led you to this viral exposure on these different platforms? What was kind of the evolution of that?
Yeah, it's really consistency over time. I've been doing this for over 20 years now, which is kind of crazy to think about. I started on social media when I was 14 on MySpace. And I don't just mean I had a MySpace profile. I mean, I jumped into communities and had hundreds of thousands of followers on MySpace and was using that to monetize in different ways, promoting local bands and t-shirt companies, email lead generation where I was paid per email just for posting. I had a friend that was a brilliant software developer. And again, we're 15 years old, 16 years old at the time. We built a very early SaaS platform. Hasn't existed for 10 plus years now, 15 years, that allowed other people to grow their following on MySpace as well. And I used my audience and influence to really fuel that. And that was such an influential part in my life because our prefrontal cortex is not fully developed yet. We're in such a influential stage in our lives. And so I, as 14, 15, 16, 17 years old, I'm making tens of thousands of dollars from my computer in my home. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what there's an opportunity here. I love this. And so I've really been just consistent with it ever since. Fast forward to about 11 years ago is where my real professional journey started. I moved across country out to California. I got started at a video marketing agency that really specialized in the behavioral health space, which is quite interesting. But I learned how to interview doctors, psychologists, psychotherapists, addiction treatment professionals, and get really valuable information out of them in repeatable formats onto video content. I loved it so much. I learned so much from just hundreds of reps, interviewing hundreds of times. what is the structure of a video? What is the keyword research that goes into making a video rank organically on YouTube? What is the supplemental content on all other social media platforms? Then fast forward to about 6.5 years ago, I started my first company called Socialty Pro, which is an organic focused digital marketing agency. And that's where I really started to grow my personal brand online again, because I wanted to practice what I preached. That was a big differentiator that I wanted to put out there. Like, who are you going to hire? The marketing agency that has no social presence themselves, has no SEO themselves, or the agency and the CEO that has a lot of following. And so I started to test and grow and practice what I preach on all of these platforms. I really had early traction on TikTok there. I got started on TikTok in 2019 and grew very quickly on there, picked up short form content insanely quick. It was like I was waiting many years for this format of content to come out. Luckily, that's where the market went when India banned TikTok. YouTube rolled out YouTube Shorts, followed by Instagram Reels and everything else. And that's where the industry went, is to short form content. And so it was a really clear, easy pivot for me to just go from TikTok to short form content across every platform, where I really started to grow. And then along the way, I just got really interested in AI. So even pre-ChatGPT, I was fascinated by the rumblings of DALL-E coming out and really just early text to image generation models, and seeing some of that stuff come up at conferences that I was attending, and just like, AI is coming. It's coming, guys. This is the next big thing. You know, they were still talking about blockchain at the time, which has kind of dissipated off a little bit. And so I pivoted a lot of my content I was talking about useful websites for business owners and entrepreneurs. It became a really easy, again, pivot to talking about AI websites for business owners and entrepreneurs. And so I hit two really big trends at really good times: short form video and AI. And I got also really good at affiliate marketing through my content promoting these tools. And so I also came to an eventual headspace of like, well, why am I just promoting these tools for 20% commissions when I could own the tool? I own the distribution market. And that's what eventually really came to Syllabi. But it's just consistency. Every single day, I have posted thousands and thousands of videos, just getting in those reps, thousands and thousands of text posts, just testing everything. It's just at bats. It's shot on net. You know, I'm not special. I just have probably been more consistent and taken more swings than most people.
Absolutely. And I think sometimes, you know, as marketers and entrepreneurs, we need that reminder just to have that consistency. And this is something you've been doing for so long and having so many of those repetitions. And I think that's what's going to be really valuable here in this episode, because we love diving into the golden nuggets, the value. And, you know, you've done now thousands of these videos. What have you noticed are the key indicators, the key things to do that leads a video to go viral and have the most success?
Yeah, you have to hook people immediately and then hold their attention, right? So a strong, almost clickbaity opening hook that's going to stop that mindless doom scrolling on whatever platform, right? And then build intrigue on that as well. Follow that up. And if you can get really good audience retention for the first like 10 seconds, your hook should only be like 3 seconds tops. And then you have like 6-7 seconds maybe to hold retention and start to build tension and build interest. Then you've got them locked into the story at that point. And if you can get engagement on that post as well, there's different psychological tricks that I'm happy to tap into, or we can save some of those gold nuggets for the end of the episode if you want to. If you can stack that attention, retention, and engagement, you're stacking the odds in your favor that those videos are going to go viral over and over again.
I love it. And I think that makes a lot of sense. You've got that framework to hook and pull people in. You're building up intrigue. You're telling them the story. You've got some of these tricks. And I think that's actually great, because it's an illustration of what we're doing in long form on this podcast, but also this is you know, we're going to save some of the biggest golden nuggets and psychological tricks to the very end of the episode. So it's a little reward for everybody that sticks around and watches the whole thing. Also, a little hint, you're seeing in action the exact type of thing, you know, Austin's talking about here in short form content as well. That being said, I think if we take a look at a macro view, you kind of mapped out the framework. How should people think about the type of content to produce? Because you've obviously dove into AI and it's new, it's exciting. But what about people that are, maybe have a business? You mentioned healthcare industries or different things. How do you think people should think about how broad they go with their topic versus what's trending versus more of their niche and specifically their knowledge? Where would you say that falls with different people who are creating content?
Well, of course, it's such a great question, right? It depends on what your goals are. If you want brand awareness, there's a funnel to content, right? There's top of the funnel, there's awareness and consideration, and then there's conversion oriented content, right? And so I tend to stay at top of funnel, broad oriented content, the broadest reaching content that signals that this is my target demographic. And then, so I spend like 60 to 70% of the content, probably even more than that personally, in that top of funnel. In the behavioral health space, for instance, it's also noticing which topics perform the best because it's also a momentum play on social media. So, for instance, we had therapists, and narcissism oriented content is always a hot button topic. And so anytime that we would do a narcissist oriented video, like now, while this is kind of middle of the funnel, it's wide reaching because there's wide interest, because it seems like everybody thinks that they have a narcissist in their life right now, whether it's actual narcissism or they're just an asshole. People like throw that term willy-nilly out there quite a lot, but it resonates, right? Mm-hmm. It lifts all boats with the tide. So not only will that top of funnel or viral oriented content increase your bottom level views. So if you were only getting like 250 views on TikTok, which is like the bare entry point for a lot of people, if you notice that doing a lot of videos on this one topic over and over again increases your follower count, increases video views, return viewers coming back in, people going to your profile looking for additional context, it might raise your bottom line from 250 views to 2,500 views. And that's that conversion oriented content, which is going to help a lot more. But also focusing on top of funnel content allows it to be shared with other people. So you might reach mom in Wyoming that is not the perfect customer for you, but cousin Steve that's in California is dealing with this specific problem. Because you're reaching a broad audience, she sends that video to cousin Steve and then he converts. But you might not have ever reached cousin Steve in the first place because your content wasn't distributed wide enough. And so that's why I love to focus on top of funnel content. Now, if you're in a tight space for clients and conversions, maybe social media is not the game for you. Like you can't just sell in every piece of content, right? Nobody wants to get pitched over and over again. They subscribe for value. They subscribe for entertainment, for news. There's all sorts of different buckets that you can tap into, but that tends to be where I spend a lot of my time with content creation.
Yeah, absolutely. And what have you noticed is the difference between the platforms? I know, of course, YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, you've been doing a lot of stuff there. But one thing that's really interesting is you're following on Facebook. I remember one of the first things I mentioned to you is there's not many people that have, 1 million, followers on their like personal Facebook profile. I mean, I know it's the professional mode, but not even a fan page. Like this is your Facebook profile. I'm curious, first of all, the Facebook side, because there's not a lot of people doing that type of growth on Facebook the way you are. But then also just overall, what do you see as some of the differences with the different platforms?
Yeah, my attention shifts from platform to platform based on where I see the most amount of engagement. It was TikTok for years. TikTok was my baby. TikTok changed my life. I got so much business, so much traction. It's opened up so many doors and opportunities, but not currently, if I'm being honest. TikTok's like my third or fourth platform where I get the most engagement on. Facebook, by far. I just checked today. I've done 83 million views on Facebook in this month. And I've gained about 100,000 followers on Facebook this month. Facebook is arguably better than it's ever been as far as organic reach. And so you have to constantly test these platforms because all it takes for some of them is to shift something in an algorithm and all of a sudden you're getting more organic reach. If you have that mentality of like, oh, this platform's old, it's dead, only grandpas are on this platform, You're missing out on a massive opportunity. The reason we're on this podcast together right now is because of Facebook.
Yeah.
The reason why I've gotten so many speaking engagements all around the world is because of Facebook. The reason I've gotten so many paid clients and networking and groups, we're both in Board of Experts, shout out to them, is through Facebook, right? That's where a lot of networking and connections with business owners is actually happening. It's not even happening it's happening on LinkedIn for sure, but Facebook is where a lot of the day-to-day is happening. That's where I'm getting the most amount of reach. It's where I can also test the most amount of formats of content as well. So I am testing, like, text threads do very, very well for me on Facebook. I can't put a text thread up on TikTok, and I can't put a text thread up on Instagram. I can on LinkedIn, I can on X, I can't on, well, I guess you can on YouTube on the community tab
Yeah,
if you want, but kind of whatever. But Facebook just supports the most amount of content types, and it gives you the most amount of flexibility on long form videos, live streams, short form video, image posts, carousels, text threads, you name it. And so it's really just important to test, and like what works for me might not work for you based on your niche. I see a lot of people succeeding on Facebook right now. I think it's a huge opportunity. They have so many people, they have so much data on all of us. Their algorithms are fantastic, but test and double down on what you see working. But yeah, Facebook is by far my main platform because it's where I get the most reach.
Yeah. And I want to actually dive deeper into that on Facebook, because I think it's really interesting. There's not as many people, especially the organic Facebook side, that have cracked it, especially the way that you've done it. What do you see converts the best, or actually, well, what do you see goes viral the best on Facebook? And then I'm also curious about the conversion aspect, and maybe you kind of break down your overall kind of Facebook strategy for everybody here.
Yeah. So by far for me right now, the top performing content are these text threads where the format is almost a clickbait headline of, rest in peace, ChatGPT. This new AI tool just blows it out of the water. And then you have like a thumbs down arrow to indicate that there's the rest of the information in the comments section. This is a fantastic format for sharing links because Facebook is notoriously de-indexed posts or suppresses the reach if you put a link, or I'm sure you know this, a YouTube video in the actual post itself just kills it. You will reach nobody. But if you do that, and then in the comment section, you have text threads. Here's the tool with URL X, Y, and Z. That could be an affiliate link. As long as you disclose that, it can be your website, it can be a lead magnet, an email opt-in form, etc. And then just like you would on a Twitter thread, for instance, like comment one is here's information, here's one thing that it can do. Another comment thread is here's another thing that it can do. That format of content performs so well. And like even more a little specific is Facebook has a specific number of characters that allows you to add a background behind the text and almost expand it and make it a little bit bigger of an aspect ratio and almost like an image. If you go over that, then it's just a text post and it shrinks it down quite a lot. So I'm taking more space on the feed with that, and it's more eye-catching as well. And so that structure is almost like rest in peace ChatGPT, so clickbait headline, and then followed by a problem statement. So like 99% of people don't know this fact, right? And then call to action, right? Learn the top 5 tools to replace ChatGPT in the comments, down arrow. So it's kind of that 3-tiered structure. And then I drive so much traffic. I've broken websites before, like literally, like I drove 5,000 signups to a tool one time in that format because it just reaches people like crazy. Facebook Reels are still fantastic as well. That's definitely the second most reached type of content there. The nuance of that is actually post a reel on the Facebook platform. Don't just post it on Instagram Reels and click that little toggle, also share to Facebook. They hit different algorithms. Manually post that sucker through Facebook as a reel. And then outside of that is like kind of business motivational posts. They get shared like crazy. That's not nothing new. That's been shared for like the entirety of Facebook, right? Those posts do crazy well. And then I work in a lot of psychological hacks too, like black and white statements, or well, let me save some of that. Let me, because that's
Yeah.
we'll say, well, that was a little tease of what's
A
to come.
little
Some of
teaser.
these
We're going to hit
psychological
all the
elements.
psychological hacks right at the end of this episode. So that's a little incentive to stick around till the very end. But this is so valuable. So actually hearing it broken down, and what I think a lot of people think Facebook is only your third best strategy for reaching people, which is the authority, kind of post, like the standard, sharing advice and business strategy, more of a long form copy. You have these other strategies, both the reels, but then also creating that short form piece of text in a thread in the comments that's working really well. And I've seen firsthand some of those different things. And then you have more likes on some of your comments to your posts than most people have on their posts, which is kind of funny. So there you go.
Yeah, they open up threads. Yeah, especially if you say something controversial. Like if you mention Elon right now, boy, oh boy.
There you go. There you go. So, taking a look at the other platforms, what are some of the strategies that you're finding are working there? Because we dove deep into Facebook, and you can go as deep as you want on some of these different platforms. But I'm curious what you're seeing working right now on some of these other platforms, on Instagram, on YouTube, LinkedIn, some of these other platforms.
Yeah, so Instagram is probably my second best platform right now. I mentioned collaborations at the beginning of this, which I'm doing a lot of. So Reels collaborations. I'm in an Instagram DM group with a lot of big AI influencers, and we do this with our Reels, and it distributes it out to everybody. One thing recently, the last like month, that I've had a lot of success with is trial Reels. Now, this is a very new feature that I think they actually did a terrible job of saying what it does and how powerful that this thing is. But what a trial reel is it's a post that goes out to a new audience that doesn't follow you. So when you post on Instagram, it reaches your original followers first, and then it sort of goes out to the wider audience. But if you do a trial reel, it goes out to the other audience, like a brand new set of audience first. And so what's been working is go look at your past top performing posts, download them, and repost them as a trial reel. If it went viral before, it's very likely to go viral, if not even more viral again. So I've been doing this like 2 times a day as my typical cadence. I will go back several months or even a year and download one of my top performing videos, post it as a trial reel. It can take time to show that audience. So like wait a week, and then I've had trial reels do millions of views and drive thousands of followers through those. And then you can take a look at that and you can say, okay, share to all audience. And then it'll have like a second blast to your existing audience on there. And so that has been really, really good. The other thing that most people, I think, like maybe people know this, maybe not everybody notice, but when you share a reel to your stories, the story views count as the reel views. So it actually one-to-one translates. And so just if you're not doing this already, just share your reels to your stories every single day. Carousels do fantastic as well, of course. But yeah, I'm really, really excited about trial reels in particular right now.
Wow, trial reel. So that's a really valuable piece of knowledge here. I mean, just imagine going in and doing that. I mean, it's something I want to do this right now. I mean, right after this interview, just take a look at that and because that's very actionable, right? You take one of your best pieces of content, you go and put it up there as a trial reel. Now, where is that just, where you go to post reels, or is that a feature you see there, or how does that work?
Yep. So as you're posting your video, you're adding the description, just scroll down a little bit. You'll see trial reel, and I think it even says like new on it. Just toggle that on and it goes to trials. How you view them, by the way, is in the same area as drafts. So I didn't realize this for like 2 days. I'm like, did it post? I don't know where to find it. So I think they need to expand on that a little bit. But if you click like how to view it is you click on your reels feed, and then the top left one will say drafts and trial reels. And you click on that and it'll show you all the trial reels and their performance. It gives you full analytics and everything in there. But yeah, it's just a toggle right before you click publish. It's right there.
Yeah. And then from there, you publish it again once it's got more of that exposure, and then it goes out to everybody. That is a cheat code right there. That's incredible. Wow.
Yeah, it's like a second boost. It's pretty powerful.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so we're diving deep. I think let's just keep going down the line. And then of course I'm excited to hear more about syllabi and some of your AI marketing
Yeah.
tools in a second. So that's coming up, and the psychological triggers. But let's keep going down the line. So you covered Facebook and
Let me
Instagram.
give one
Yeah.
Let me give one more hack right now for Facebook, because I just remembered this. This is an insane hack for growing a Facebook group that I just discovered about 2 months ago. There is a very deep feature on Facebook. It might only be on professional mode, personal profiles, but it's in settings. Poke around. It's auto invite. And so I have it set up that everybody that engages regularly with my content on my Facebook profile automatically gets an invitation to my Syllabi Content Creators Facebook group. We just talked about how much reach I get and engagement that I get on my posts. And so this has been a fantastic funnel, because I know there's a lot of marketers in here. Let me kind of break this down a little bit. Syllabi is a tool that works. We have great users and brand advocates that share their results in the Facebook group every single day. Engaged users from my personal profile automatically get that invite. A percentage of them accept that invite and join Syllabi. They're bombarded with success stories of how this tool has helped them create content. They sign up. And so this is a fantastic funnel to go from, and it's just a simple setting. And that one setting has the group over 18,000 new members just from that one setting.
Wow. You just turn it on.
Insane.
Auto invite people that are
Auto
engaging,
invite.
and it'll just do it in the background.
Automatically does everything in the background. Insane hack.
That is a really great hack. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Well,
Had to sneak that one in there. Sorry.
Yeah. Let's keep adding them. Let's keep this going. This is really valuable. And this is what this is all about, right? Here on Marketing Minds, just jamming on all of these different strategies and tactics and the things that are working right now. So what are you seeing on some of the other platforms? So you're kind of going down the list of your best platforms. What's kind of the next one for you?
Yeah, YouTube and TikTok are kind of similar plays right now. I love YouTube. I have just come to this conclusion. I am a short form content creator. I just don't get as much enjoyment out of long form videos. I still do them. It's still very valuable for all of the reasons: building trust, rapport, long form value, education. You can go deep in topics and whatnot, but I just don't find I procrastinate it. So I lead into my zone of genius. And so I create shorts on YouTube every single day. So the same style of shorts have been not as explosive as they were 2 years ago, but they're still doing well. And then community posts are an untapped hack too. So if you're this is an interesting thing. I actually learned this from Sean Cannell, that your YouTube community posts are shareable. And so if you just post extremely valuable content on your community posts, you can get subscribers from that and reach and sales and everything without posting videos. So, and you can check all this from analytics. So I think I've gotten like over 1,000 subscribers just from the community tab, just from posting like meme images or business images or text threads or anything like that, and it shares out. Just a quick little hack that you can add on and reuse some of your content from another platform if you're already doing it. But yeah, shorts every single day, long form content as consistently as you can commit to. There's little nuanced features like adding a related video on shorts that is a clickable link to a long form video to drive viewership and context that way. And then on TikTok, same thing. Like I just create short form content. I love short form content. I'm still under a minute. I know you can create longer form on TikTok, but they trained us to be short. Damn it. I'm not creating a 10-minute long vertical video. I'm sticking to the sub 60 seconds, which has worked for me forever. And even like YouTube just rolled out 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. I can't do it. I don't even know how to expand. I was talking to Dusty Porter, great YouTube podcast about this. Mm-hmm. He's like, I don't know how to shrink my content into shorts. Like, I don't know how to expand my content into long form because I've done so many of these shorts. I can't even I can't go 3 minutes. It feels like it's a drag. But test those different lengths of format. Image carousels actually work on TikTok pretty well too. I posted a meme about a DeepSeek the other day, 600,000 views on TikTok. It's just an image, swipeable carousel images. Like, it's all about repurposing. If you're making carousels for Instagram already, put that sucker on TikTok as well, and test that out. That's really what I do across the board.
Yeah, that's great. And exactly, you might as well cross promote to the different platforms. You're already creating the content. It's just, a few extra clicks to upload it on the different platforms that you have. And it's so funny because I feel like you're exactly right, where I'm more of a long form creator, and that's also why diving into podcast has been more natural to me as well. Although you're fantastic. This, diving into everything here, you're able to really dive super deep. So I'm sure, and I've seen some of your long form content too. Like, give yourself a little more credit. It's really valuable. But it's the same thing for me. It's like I create a lot of long form content. I think sometimes it's condensing it down into short form content that can feel a little bit of a challenge. So what would you actually say to that person? How would you frame your mindset around these short form videos? I know you talked about the framework, the hook, those different elements, but just in general, how would you talk to somebody who maybe is used to creating a lot of long form content? And a lot of the people that have been following me, they have YouTube channels and they've been posting, 8-minute, 15-minute, 20-minute content on YouTube consistently, or maybe doing podcasts. What would you say to that person for how to think about how to condense these ideas into short form content?
Yeah. So there are two different ways. If you have somebody that can hold the camera for you and ask you a question, this is a style format that we always did with our clients that worked so well in so many industries, millions and millions of views. Have them ask you a question. That acts as the opening hook. That question, if you're really strategic, can be long tail SEO keyword questions that you can repurpose in a lot of different ways as well. And so we would say, like, press record on the camera and be like, "Hey Jim, what are 3 signs that you're dating a covert narcissist?" Right? And immediately he'll go into, "Oof, I'm so sorry if you're dealing with that. I know it's a horrible problem." Right? A little tension there, right? Here's 3 things that are going to help you recognize this and know what to do next. Tip number 1 is this, one line. Tip number 2 is this, one line. Tip number 3 is this. And listen, I get it. If you are struggling with this, you want to have a longer conversation, schedule a call with me in my bio. I'm here for you. I know what you're going through. If you just have it as that sort of structure, it works. It works incredibly well. Same thing, opening hook, build a little bit of tension, provide incredible, valuable takeaway information, call to action, tell them what to do next as a business owner. Now, if you're doing it by yourself, you kind of have to switch that a little bit around. So really strong opening hook, kind of same format. We'll go with like the same topic, right? Like, here's 3 signs you're dating a covert narcissist. I'm sorry if you're dealing with this. I know what you're going through, but I've got some solutions for you. Tip number 1 is this. Tip number 2 is this. Tip number 3 is this. Listen, if you want to get more help with this and have a deeper conversation, I'm here for you. Give me a call in my bio. Something like that. If you just break it down that way, like newspaper headline, one-liners of information, then you can always expand on it in long-form content. You can expand on it in a live chat or a phone call or an email chain, in the DMs, or whatever you want to do to get that follow-up. This is just to stay top of mind and show them that you have a solution for the problem and you're the person that they should talk to.
Awesome. And I think that those different ways of doing it, whether it's the interview style or diving in and covering some of those key elements, is definitely going to help people better think about how to create these different pieces of content, and also tackling one small subject at a time. Instead of on a YouTube video, you might have 8 different ideas in 8, 10, 15 minutes. So you can condense that down to those same 8 ideas, now just become 8 daily shorts.
Yes, absolutely.
And actually, speaking of that, so daily, I know a lot of people talk about a piece of content daily, but I know from firsthand experience, you publish a lot more than that. You've also mentioned that. How many pieces of content have you found to be optimal on each of these platforms? What have you seen on that side?
I mean, it's as much as you can consistently commit to. I'm not going to tell you, like, what works for me is I post like 10 pieces of content a day on Facebook. And typically it's like 1 to 2 short form videos a day that I repurpose across all of the platforms. It used to be a lot more than that. Like, when I was really, really active on TikTok, it was like 3 to 5 a day, every single day. It just allows you to fail faster. That's the whole secret here. Fail faster and double down on what you see working and the trends that are working. If I Honestly, I would say minimum of one a day, just to stay top of mind, especially in an AI era. It's getting busier and busier, and AI content is getting better and better. And in order to compete, you can't just post once a week anymore. I'm sorry, you missed the window. It's not the,
Exactly.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news. You have to stay top of mind. So I would say at a minimum one per day. If you can do two or three a day, fantastic. The other great thing here is that as you stick with this, you build up a backlog of content. So like every day, the first thing that I do, honestly, to get my first piece of content out is I look at my memories on Facebook and I see over the last 5 years, what are the top pieces of content that got the most amount of reach and engagement for me. And if it's still relevant, I repost that sucker. You are the only person that sees every single piece of content that you put out there. And oftentimes, people want to see it again. They're not going to be bothered if you post the same piece of content again. They might have been like, oh, this was so good, I want to rewatch that again, but I don't know where to find it. So it's okay to repost your content. That's a great way to stay consistent. Just build up that backlog of content that you can pull from. The amount is going to vary person to person, niche to niche, account by account. Consistency over time is the most important factor.
Absolutely. And have you ever noticed diminishing returns? Because I'm curious, I know that's something some people might be concerned about is if they post a lot of quantity and there's kind of this, and of course, you've given us the formula for quality too, but I think one concern that people would have is if they're doing a lot, is that going to potentially harm their reach on future posts?
No, I think I've been in this for 20 years. I've seen every platform come and go. I've seen every algorithm come and change. There are seasons of growth and seasons of learning. Double down on those seasons of growth. And when content gets saturated, you're losing followers, you're not reaching the same amount of people, use that as time to experiment and try other things. Don't get burn out. Find your own ways to keep yourself motivated and celebrate little wins, whatever you got to do. Stay consistent. This happens constantly. I hear every single freaking day is like, the algorithm hates me. I'm shadow banned. Blah, blah. No, it's just probably the content that worked for you 2 years ago is not working right now. So experiment. It might work again in the future. Like right now, like on Facebook is the perfect example of this. I'll have giant spikes, and then there'll be a month where I'll lose 10,000 followers. And then there'll be like months like this right now where I'm gaining 100,000 followers a month right now on Facebook. Zoom out. Look at the bigger picture. Don't get lost in this week, I went from 1,000 views to 100 views. I quit. Social media sucks. No, this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. Always be testing new things, always be trying and experimenting, but just stay consistent. It's all cyclical. Just stick with it. It's not going to hurt your diminishing returns.
Absolutely. I think that's a great, pep talk and motivation for everybody that's watching or listening to go out and start creating that content. And so in terms of marketing tools, like AI marketing tools, and I want to hear, and of course I know a little bit more, but to share with everybody about Syllabi. But what I'd love to also learn about is what are your favorite AI marketing tools? And I think that's also a great segue into that side of things.
Yeah, so it depends on what you want an AI tool to do for you, right? There's text generation tools, there's avatar tools, there's video creation tools, there's PowerPoint creators, course creators, anything like that. Like rather than just jumping into a million tools, I would really arguably, I would do a time inventory first. And great book on this, Buy Back Your Time, Dan Martell. Do a time inventory for like a week and look at the tasks that you really want an AI solution for, and then seek that out, right? Don't just be like, I need AI to do everything immediately. I'm firing my entire team and I'm just going to have AI agents do everything. And it's like, maybe that's going to happen to some degree in a year or two, but look for painkillers right now, right? So, there's for text writing, there's like I'm friends with the founder of Magi. A shout out to Dustin. Magi is a great like LLM aggregator that has the best of everything. So if you don't want to pay for Claude and ChatGPT and Grok and all these different LLMs, you can just use Magi, which pulls from all of them, and you can choose the model and use it for text generation or anything that you want for that. Image generation is another one, right? Midjourney is fantastic, of course. There's great free tools like Leonardo AI, which I love. You can do all kinds of stuff with that. Grok 3 just rolled out. Great tool. A lot of really fun. It's very powerful. The best uncensored imagery on the market. I love that they've just been like freedom of speech. Like just, feel free to make a picture of Donald Trump and Elon Musk making out. They're the only platform that allows that. And I love that they're just like freedom. But not to get political or anything, but I mean, ChatGPT, I pay for ChatGPT Pro, which has Sora and GPT tasks and operator, which is still a work in progress, but a really cool showing of what agents are going to be able to do soon. And then, well, there's great tools like Use Motion. Use Motion's the website, which is basically a smart calendar. So it'll like it's a project management tool. So if you miss a meeting or you need to reschedule a meeting or something like that, it'll automatically move it to another time on your calendar that you're available. And it helps you out a lot there. There's Superhuman, which is like AI powered smart email tool that they have a very bold value prop on their website. Let me see here. It's save 4 hours per person every single week. I don't know if they can back that up. It might be a FTC violation there, but we'll have to ask Anik. Is this an absolute statement? Is this a violation? But that's fantastic. And then tools like Syllabi, which is my AI tool, I really built it as a workflow tool to automate your video marketing. So whether you're a marketing agency and you're facing that bottleneck of my client just has not sent me a video, and so I can't get content out for them. Well, in Syllabi, you can find topics to create. It writes the scripts. It creates the videos for you with their avatars or faceless videos or B-roll videos. You can do audio upload to video. So you can put in a podcast episode or upload an audio recording file or anything there, URL to video, and it creates all of the videos for you, different formats of content. And then you can connect all of your social media accounts and schedule and publish that out. Great for individual people that are like, I don't know what topics to create. I don't know editing. I need help staying consistent and accountable. Let me just automate all of my videos and automate the traffic and the growth. And then same thing for agencies. Like if you have clients that are just really difficult to lock down to record their content, this is great supplemental content. It's like, okay, cousin Steve again didn't record a video. Let me just knock one out real quick on a value statement, educational piece of content that's going to help his audience. Let me just get that out there so there's something to post today to keep Steve happy and make the ROI machine work. Yeah, that's those are some of the ones that immediately come to mind. But like I am reviewing AI tools every single day.
Yes, exactly. Follow you on any of the social media platforms, but I know I see a lot, over there on Facebook, constantly going through some of the best, AI marketing tools and all of that. And I'm actually curious. So what are you seeing in terms of the performance of videos that are either generated with AI or have AI scripts versus videos that don't have that? Like, what are you seeing in terms of performance?
Yeah, different niches are better than others. They perform very well. So I have a channel. It's entirely automated with Syllabi. It's called Ancient History Facts on YouTube. I cover ancient history topics. It's got over 1 million views. Many of the shorts have tens of thousands of views. Several of the longs have over 10,000 views, thousands of views. It performs very, very well. All of these videos are able to be monetized as well. But there's people in all kinds of different niches. Real estate agents use us. Medical doctors have used us. Lawyers have used us. AI content creators use us. It's always funny to like create a video in Syllabi promoting Syllabi. They perform well. It's just, again, consistency over time and testing the core fundamentals of like, is this a good title? Am I holding attention throughout this video? Am I increasing engagement throughout this video in some way? But yeah, I mean, if you check that Facebook group every day, there's people like, in only 3 months, I just reached 200,000 views because I use Syllabi. I've never created a piece of content in my life before. And like, that's the most inspiring thing to me. It's just seeing people crush it every day.
That's incredible. Yeah, I love that. And also it makes it so much easier, everything that we're talking about, right? To go and craft all of this content. I think some people might be saying, okay, well, this all sounds well and good, but how do I actually go and do that? Well, now with AI tools like Syllabi, you can go in and just do that really fast and still have that high quality of content. And then supplement that with the content that you're learning to film
Yeah.
yourself and some of the other strategies and tactics that we're talking about. So I love that as like a tactic for people just to kind of dive into. And you also I know have the AI marketing summit that you're putting on, and of course you've been a big thought leader in the world of AI. How did that come to be? What's that going to be all about?
Yeah, so I partnered with Scott Simpson, who's the owner of Video Marketing World, and I have a really cool come up story with this conference. Basically, we pivoted Video Marketing World into AI Marketing World, and we're revamping it, making it a whole new thing. But I attended that conference years ago when I was still an employee before I started my own companies and got started on this personal brand journey. My boss really believed in me as my mentor and has invested in my personal growth. He sent me out to this conference. I sat in the back of the room. I learned a lot. I applied everything. That's when I started to grow on TikTok. I reached back out to Scott, cold DM on Facebook. Facebook again, that's where the networking's happening, and said, hey, I've attended this conference before. I learned a lot. I've applied it. I have 50,000 followers on TikTok. I'm helping a lot of businesses grow their TikTok as well. I noticed you haven't had a TikTok speaker before. If you'd ever be interested, this is a personal dream of mine. If you could help. I'm just putting that out there a little bit. He brought me on his podcast. I delivered. Right. I showed that I could actually deliver. He invited me to be a panel moderator. So I led the first TikTok for Business panel at Video Marketing World. Delivered, right? You have to deliver. Was invited back as a keynote speaker about TikTok. Delivered. Great conference. And then 2 years later, so that was 2 years ago, Scott and I have been great friends. We've been clients for each other. We've referred each other tons of business. Just great guy. We came together and we're like, video marketing conferences are kind of saturated. There's a lot of them, and AI is really influencing how we create content on social media. So let's leverage your audience. Let's build this into something awesome. And so I went from person in the back of the room to business partner at this conference in less than 5 years of staying consistent and showing up and delivering. Right. And so that's my come up story with this, but I want this to be the best AI marketing conference in at least the country, eventually the world. I'm a go big or go home type of person. I am not let's do a 25 person online summit and see how it goes. No, I'm like, let's throw a 750 to 1,000 person conference. Let's freaking do this thing. Let's bring in big sponsors. Let's bring in the best speakers in the world so that everybody can network with each other and learn. It's going to be an interactive experience as well. So we're bringing in some like hardware companies to do AI tech demos. It's not just going to be a talking head type of conference. It's really like combining trade show tech conference with the best AI marketing and information experts in the world. And it's going to be a really cool thing, man. That's aimarketingworld.co is the website. And that's October 9th through 11th in Dallas, Texas. Don't miss it.
Oh, that's awesome. Sounds fantastic. And I love the story you were sharing, how you were attending that event and then all the way to now, running it or creating it into a new thing, right? Into the AI marketing world. And I think that's one of the things that's so valuable for people who are listening or watching, a podcast like this to know, like you might be in the spot now where you're learning some of these principles or you're attending something like the AI marketing world. But over time, as you apply the principles, as you start to grow and connect with people, you can get to the spot where you're leading things like this. So that's a great kind of reminder of that story. So aimarketingworld.co, definitely go there, check out the tickets. And then also, how can they find Syllabi as well? And is there anything else that you want to share? But keep in mind, everybody, we're about to get into those psychological triggers, so do not go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. We're going to dive into those in just a second towards the end here. But where else can people go to find you and find Syllabi and everything you're working on?
Yeah, so it's Syllabi with a Y, syllabi.io, so syllaby.io. And I'm sure Alric has an affiliate link in the description of this. If not, I'll get you set up as an affiliate, brother. And use that, support the show, support him. First 7 days are completely free. Try it out. We're a very transparent, open company, so you want to schedule a one-on-one demo with us to show you how everything works, we're happy to do that. We do them all day, every single day. We love showing our tool and how powerful that it is. I'm Austin Armstrong across the board, very easy to find, but there are 3 very famous Austin Armstrongs. I am the nerdy AI with glasses Austin Armstrong. I am not the Florida Gators defensive line coach Austin Armstrong, and nor am I the luscious curly-haired 6'2" relationship vlog influencer Austin Armstrong either. I am that perfectly nerdy business owner in the center.
There we go. I love it. I love it. And definitely worth following Austin on all the platforms. The value that you provide and deliver there is fantastic. I'm always learning about new AI marketing tools and content, and you can learn a lot by seeing how Austin does his posts because he's practicing what he's preaching. He's actually doing the things that he's talking about. So not only will you learn about marketing, you also learn about, kind of how to use social media on these different platforms, but you'll actually see him doing it himself, which I think is really valuable. I highly encourage you to go and follow not just Austin, but people that are doing the types of things that you're looking to do on social media. It's one of the best hacks is to see what people are doing that are already performing well and then model that in your own industry, in your own niche. All right. So we teased this since the very beginning of the episode. We want to get into these psychological triggers. Now, before we dive into that, though, if you are not already subscribed to the Marketing Minds podcast, make sure you subscribe on YouTube. We're also video on Spotify and, of course, streaming on audio on Apple Podcasts and anywhere you get your podcast. You are not going to want to miss any of the upcoming episodes. We got some other incredible episodes coming up. If you love how deep we dived in here, that's what we do every single episode. All right. We've been teasing this. Let's dive in to those the psychological triggers, I mean to say, but of course we have AI components. That's awesome. But the psychological triggers that you put into your videos that get people to watch and get them to go viral.
Yeah. Okay. This is going to make some people cringe. This is going to make some people go, I don't know if I can do that. The underlying idea here is to sneak Easter eggs into your content. I learned along the way that all of these platforms, all they care about is more engagement. They don't care if the engagement is positive or negative. As human beings, it is easier to get negative engagement than it is to get positive engagement. Think about this. Like you go to a restaurant and the food is perfectly adequate. It meets expectations. You're not running to Google to leave a 5-star review. But as soon, and you could have gone to this restaurant 5 times. As soon as you get one snarky server or a hair in your food, you are much more likely to run and leave a negative review, right? This is just human nature. People love to assert their egos, assert their anecdotal evidence of why they are right in their own personal bubble and you are wrong in your experience. Every industry. So, and trolls are inevitable on social media. And so you can leverage all of this. Troll the trolls. And so there's a lot of different ways that I do this. So one, when I do a video showing a useful website, I will show the URL and right below it, I'll plant a little Easter egg. I'll plant a folder that says something like Mr. Beast NUD ... So it looks like it says Mr. Beast nude. And it'll actually be a hyperlink just to like the homepage of OnlyFans. So the little OnlyFans logo will be right there. And I'll swap the people out. And every single time, without fail, I've been doing this for years, people run to the comments and say, yo, that folder sucks. I can't be the only one. Who else noticed this folder? Who else noticed this thing? What's going on? What's happening during that, right? They run to the comments. My video is still playing in the background, racking up view duration and retention and repeat views. It causes comment strings in those comments. I thought I was the only one. Let me upvote this comment. It increases engagement. The information in the video is incredibly valuable. And so I am trolling the trolls to lift up the engagement and the view duration on my videos, which has helped me get billions of views on social. The other thing you can do is you can adopt this in different ways. You can plant weird things or interesting things in the backgrounds of your videos. I've done tons of speaking engagements at like real estate oriented conferences. And I'm like, just please, someone do a house tour video and then they show the beautiful backyard and just have somebody dress up in like a Bigfoot costume and just like inexplicably walk from one tree to another tree and make no mention of it, just have it kind of be in the background. And so the viewer's like, Bigfoot in this suburban 442? What's going on here? The other thing that I'll do in those text threads as well is I will make black and white statements. We don't live in a black and white world, but I will make sort of controversial statements that resonate with the audience that I'm trying to reach and borderline isolate people that I am not trying to reach. And so an example of that is every couple of months, I'll do the same post, repost it again. YouTube is free. Google is free. ChatGPT is free. Coursera has free courses, or edX has free courses, right? Wi-Fi is free. You have no excuses to not learn a skill online. Something like that will be the text thread, right? And so I'm trying, yes, I have a global audience, but I'm trying to reach that entrepreneur or that aspiring content creator in the United States that is just looking for the push to know where to learn information that they can apply and get started. Because before you can invest your money, you can invest your time. Anybody can invest their time. Don't give me any fucking excuses about it. Wake up an hour earlier, put your kids to sleep, whatever. Don't cut the bullshit. You can make that time, right? You can go to a library and get free Wi-Fi. But without every single time, people oversee, and I hate to isolate people, but this is the nature of social media. And there are always contrarians and there's always trolls that are like, Wi-Fi isn't free here. My data isn't free here. I can't go on YouTube and watch this video. But guess what? All of those people lift that post up. That post, I just did it a couple weeks ago, 10 million views. And it's because of all of the naysayers. The reality is that there's 20,000 hearts and 30,000 likes, and there's 100 angry emojis on there. And it's those 100 people that are like, this is bullshit based on my anecdotal evidence, right? Yeah. But I'm leveraging those people to reach the tens of thousands of people that are actually going to get inspired and take action away from this content. So if you work in some of those psychological hacks, and never shout, tell people this, by the way, in your posts, I'm telling you this as a strategist, but it is easier to fool people than to convince them that they've been fooled. Powerful statement there.
That is powerful.
And so if you just work in some of these psychological hacks and even just making this statement is going to isolate some of the audience. Half of the audience here is going to be like, I have an idea. I can work this into my content. Yep. And the other half is going to be like, no, that's not my brand. I can't do it. I can't do it. Alric, I won't say Mr. Beast nude because I'm a real estate agent. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Leverage the trolls online to lift your content up. I promise it works.
%. And it's even the same thing with ad hooks. So one of our best performing ad hooks of all time is one of those kind of black and white statements that brings out, people that are just like, what? It's YouTube ads beat Facebook ads every time. And then I, get into let's face it, Facebook ad costs are getting more expensive. Even when you have great ads, they're very hard to scale. So let's talk about YouTube ads. But of course, the reality is, and I've talked about this on the podcast, that there's nuance, right? There's a lot of value in Facebook ads. There's value in YouTube ads. I talk about the benefits of YouTube ads with intent-based advertising, targeting people there. But my real stance is you should really use an omnipresent strategy and use multiple ad platforms the same way you use multiple social media platforms. But sometimes having that bold statement is going to pull in the right people, push away the wrong people. And having that type of bold or black and white statement is going to just capture a lot more of that attention and bring in the people that you want, and also really help the algorithm. It's different on an ad because they're not necessarily commenting, at least on the YouTube ad, but having that, there's definitely a lot of that opportunity to use these psychological triggers that pull in the right people, and then in this case of organic posts, help it reach more people because that's pushing up that post, which is fantastic. Well, this has been absolutely amazing, Austin. Any last kind of things, last golden nuggets, secrets, or resources you want to share as we close out this episode?
No, just stay consistent. That's the biggest thing. Test these different platforms out, test different formats of content out. If you want to reach me, I'm very easy to get a hold of. I'd probably reach out on Facebook. That's where I spend the most amount of my time. If you want to check out Syllabi, It's syllaby.io. Come check it out. And if you want to network with me in person, hang out with me, and really pick my brain, come to AI Marketing World.
Awesome. Well, that sounds great. Thank you so much for being on, Austin. This has been fantastic.
Appreciate you, brother.
Right, stop that there.